Greetings YouTube, this is Zeroed In, bringing you my first recorded flawless victory recorded on Black Ops, and I gotta say, I was playing pretty conservatively this match, but that's not to say that there aren't some things to be learned from this style of play, and a few more tips that I found that really helped me out, and that really helped me get big scores when I'm trying to play like this, because at first it can really make you feel like you're being taken out of the fight. I usually like to play really aggressive, and so it's tough to know exactly where you should be to get the enemies to come to you. And one good thing I've figured out is that you kind of want to be right on the edge of where your team is, the front line of your team. So as you can see here, my teammate we're holding this one kind of side of the map, and I'm located just out of sight, but fairly close to him. You don't ever want to be hiding in the exact same spot as your teammate, because then if for some reason things go wrong, you lose a firefight or you get surprised, then the enemy just ends up getting a double kill on you, which is going to make you rage pretty hard. I know it's done that for me several times, where I've had a teammate just walk out right in front of me and start spraying, with an unsilenced weapon, and then we get mowed down. I get mowed down right behind him because the enemy spots both of us at the same time. So don't let them blow your cover, but at the same time, don't completely abandon them. As you can see, I'm also kind of watching his back. He's watching the front, but I'm watching his flank here. And it ends up saving him later in the video. But there's nothing wrong with sitting in a spot for just a little bit and making sure that you don't die, especially on a place like WMD, where it's a really open map. There's a whole lot of places to hide. You run out here in the middle like this without taking any sort of cover and just running around willy-nilly, you're going to get shot from one of those windows. You're going to get shot from so many different angles you can get hit from. It's not worth it to play, like you just don't care. If that's how you have fun, I mean, that's how you have fun. I do have a couple of matches that I've recorded where I just run around with lightweight on and go nuts, but usually I don't get very good scores with that, and I think the reason for that, at least for me, is that I'm careless when I do that. I don't focus on getting behind cover. I don't focus on, hey, where's the enemy? I don't focus on any of that stuff. So I think it's pretty important to, I've said it before, but it's really important to know where the enemy is, know where they're going to be coming from, and set up a position where you can ambush them. You can't just sit in the same position forever, but if you can get a nice spot where you can only be attacked from maybe one or two angles at the most, you'll be in a lot better position than if you're just running around out in the open, or if you're running from cover to cover without actually thinking about where can you get shot from. And this is a nice little place because you got this back area here, but with a claymore, if I didn't get mine destroyed right at the beginning and put it in kind of a dumb spot, you can guard that back fence, and then you only have two more angles that you can be shot from. So you want to listen for footsteps. That's why I personally prefer Ninja Pro. Listen for footsteps, and when you hear them, go ahead and try to take them out. Also, you kind of want to do some counterattacking. When you're fairly close to the enemy and you see their red dots start lighting up, go ahead and try to attack them while they're reloading. That's a pretty good tactic, is hit them while they don't expect you to be there. Or sometimes one of your teammates may have to get killed in order to do that, but you can't really control what they do anyways, unless you're really communicating with them and you're playing with your friends, that sort of thing. But for the most part, however, team deathmatch, even though it has the word team in it, you usually don't play very much like a team. That's always kind of been how Call of Duty is. You don't really need to rely on your teammates. I don't like relying on my teammates because they usually end up getting me killed, or I don't like having to depend on them for doing well. And I'm not sure why I can't shoot through this grate here. I guess I thought I could. If it were more solid, I would have expected that I wouldn't have been able to shoot through it. But I have an assault rifle, and it's just a chain link catwalk. I didn't really figure I wouldn't be able to shoot through that, so I almost lost my kill streak there and didn't get my dogs, but luckily that was not the case. So I got once you get your Blackbird up though, feel free to kind of play a little bit more aggressive, take out your unsilenced rifle or whatever it is that you have and just kind of go nuts. Because at that point, you're probably going to end up getting a pretty decent score, because if you run the same kill streaks I do, they net you some pretty nice things in the end. But, you know, something I didn't really stress here is that when you're playing stealth, you don't necessarily need to be in the enemy spawn. In fact, I would advise against that. Don't push the enemies too hard. Don't push up into their territory too hard. The more you do that, the more you'll cause them to spawn behind you. And on a small map, that can happen all the time. Like firing range, you keep pushing into their spawn, they're going to keep spawning behind you. You're going to get there, and then they're going to spawn behind you. You rush to the other side, and then they spawn on the other side. Don't do that. That's really not what you're after. Your goal really is to be hidden and attack from angles that they don't expect you to. Be the extra guy, the one that they didn't expect. Maybe they just engaged one of your teammates, and let's say two enemies come up on your position. It's you and another teammate, and they know that your teammate's there because they have a spy plane up. Well, they shoot at him, and they injure him a little bit, but they continue to rush up onto his position, and you take him out from the side. I mean, that's really kind of what you want to do, is be the one that they don't expect to be there. And before I forget, something else I also want to mention is that it's not enough to simply be behind cover and watching the same direction that your team is watching, even if you're sticking somewhat close to them. I wouldn't recommend doing that, just because I can't tell you how many times I've lost head-on firefights with a silenced weapon. When you're using a silenced weapon in Black Ops, the damage is drastically different. Now, it's less so with things like the FAMAS and the AUG or the AUG or whatever you want to call it, and some of the faster firing weapons, some of the SMGs like the Spectre and that sort of thing. But for the most part, though, when you're using a suppressor on your weapon, you'll be doing a lot less damage over range to people compared to the good majority of people who don't use suppressors on their weapons. So it's important to keep that in mind, and that's why it's also important, like I said before, to attack from angles where they can't see you or where they haven't noticed you yet. So try to focus on that, and you will notice that your score probably increases. That's the final game, 38-0, no deaths, and that's how you do it right there. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.